In this video, I'm going to show you how to design and create a modern web app using zero code. We're going to use Claude and the brand new Cursor application, which turns anybody with zero code experience into a seasoned pro coder. This process is going to be awesome, and this is actually going to be the first part in a multi-part series that I'm going to put together showing how you can take anybody from a total newbie to a completely seasoned pro using AI with zero code. You're not going to want to miss this, so let's jump right in. So in order to get started, the first thing you're going to have to do is install Cursor. So I've talked about this in a previous video. Cursor is basically this new AI code editor. It's very, very powerful, and you can connect it directly with Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which is the best coding AI platform out right now. So again, come to cursor.com. You're going to download this. You're going to sign in. You're going to set up your account. It's totally free. You can go to a paid version if you want to take this to the next level. I'm using a free version. That's all you need for now. Next step is you're going to go to anthropic.com. You're going to set up your account. You're going to create an API key. This is not free. I think you get a little bit of free credits, but you're going to have to pay for these. They're not that expensive. I think in this demo, we're probably going to spend a few bucks, and I'm going to show you how to create a full modern web app with a beautiful design. So once you have Cursor installed and set up, you're going to want to connect your Anthropic key. So just really quickly, I'll show you how to do that. So if we're in Cursor, we're going to go to our settings. So where is that? Let's see. Right here, settings. We're going to go to our models. You're going to want to turn off all the models except 3.5 Sonnet. It really is the best. You don't need anything else. You're going to enter your Anthropic key. You're going to verify that. You're going to check this to green, and that's it. You're good to go. You are set up. So the first thing I'm going to do here, so I have Cursor set up. I've installed Claude, or I have the Claude API key set up. This is brand new. We're going to start totally from scratch, and I'm going to show you this whole process. So first thing here it's going to ask me to do is open a folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new folder here. I'm going to put this in my YouTube folder here, and we're going to call this the Cursor demo. I'm going to select that folder, and we're going to get started. So you see we have a folder here set up. This is our code editor. There's obviously nothing in here, and we're going to get started from here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the terminal here. If you don't know what this is, you don't really have to, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install something called NextJS. So NextJS is a modern framework for modern applications. You don't need to know much about this. All you need to know is you come to NextJS, you come here, you find the automatic installation, and I'm going to run this in my terminal, and it's going to create a new project for me. So if I come back to Cursor, I'm going to paste this, and I'm going to run this. So it's going to say you need to install this, and you're just going to press yes. So we're going to get to name our project now. So I'm going to name this Cursor Demo Project. Sounds like a good name. Yes, we will use TypeScript. So it's a yes. Yes, we'll use ESLint. Yes, we'll use Tailwind. Yes, we'll use an SRC directory. Yes, we'll use an app router. So we're just going to basically say yes to all this stuff. Actually, I'm going to say no to this. All right, so it's installing this. This will take a few minutes. And once this is done, we will have our Next.js set up, and we can start coding. All right, so Next.js is set up. That only took about 1 minute. That's fully set up. So the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to go into our Cursor demo project folder. So I'm just going to hit CD, which means change directory, and we're going to go into Cursor demo project. All right, so here we are. So if I open this here, you're going to see we have our whole project set up here. Just to show you what this looks like right now, I'm going to hit npm run dev, and all that does is run the project. It's going to run Next.js, and if I click on this, it's going to open this up, and we can see that we have the beautiful default demo of Next.js set up here. So get started by editing this, save and see, deploy now, and then we can deploy this directly to Vercel. That's going to be later on. I'll show you how to do that. It's really simple as well, but that's it. We're set up. We have our Next.js set up. So now the fun begins. Now we can start actually coding our application. So I'm going to come back here. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to come to SRC, and I'm going to come to this page.tsx. So this is like our main page, right? Like our home page right now. And you can see it has some stuff like some text written out here and some code and things like that. I'm going to leave this all alone for now. I'm not going to touch any of this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control I, and this is going to bring up the console. Now, this is where the magic happens with Cursor. So basically from here, I can just sort of type whatever I want, and I can give it context. I can upload images, give it ideas, and I can start building what I want to build. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, please remove the default Next.js info and begin process of building me my new SaaS application. Okay, so this is just going to remove all this default stuff here from Next.js. And by the way, you see how it says page.tsx here? So this understands already that I'm in the page.tsx folder, and it's going to start to edit this. But I'm going to show you how cool this is later, because we don't even have to tell it where to go. It's going to know where to go. It's really, really cool. So I'm going to say, please begin this process. I'm then going to say, I'd like this to have a simple dashboard design with the menu on the left and all the features in a modern web app. Okay, so I'm just gonna give that and let's see what it does. So it's gonna modify the code to create a basic dashboard layout for our SaaS application with a left-sided menu. So basically it understood exactly what I was looking for. So you can see here now it's actually editing this code for us, right? So it did a bunch of edits to the code and now it's asking us to accept them all. So I'm gonna hit accept all here. I'm gonna come back to our new application that we built. So this is localhost, so localhost 3000. And you can see our new SaaS is starting to get built. So we have your SaaS, the dashboard, widget 1, widget 2, widget 3, dashboard, analytics, users, etc. So it built us out this nice template. Now, what I want to do, I don't want to use this design. So I'm going to come over here to two different libraries we have here. So one is called ShadCN. So this is a library with a bunch of modern components for design. You can see here it has a bunch of really cool design stuff. So this is like for a main menu. You know, they have drop-down menus. They have a bunch of really, really cool stuff, menu bars, navigation menus. I mean, you name it. They have a ton of really cool stuff. And this will help you build a beautiful modern web application. So I'm going to now install this. I'm also going to install something called MagicUI. So MagicUI has a bunch of really cool stuff as well. So if I come over here, some of these components, they have just tons of cool stuff. So you can see like this marquee with things moving around, these bento grids. So this is what's going to really make our application look like a modern web app, right? Not like this sort of basic dashboard here. It's really going to make it stand out and pop. And then we can make a really cool landing page, which I'm going to show you as well. So just to recap so far, we've set up NextJS. We've set up a very simple landing page, or I should say dashboard page here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install both of these. I'm going to come here to ShadCN and I'm going to hit installation. I'm going to hit on NextJS because that's what we're using here. And I'm going to follow these instructions. So I'm going to run the init command here to create a new NextJS project or to set up an existing one. And we're going to start configuring these. So basically you run this and it will start setting up this process, right? So I'm going to come here. I'm going to grab this. So I'm going to just move this for now. So I'm going to just hit Control C. So that's just going to terminate the job here. So basically just stop the app from running. And then I'm going to run this code. So npx ShadCN latest init. So this is going to start the process of installing. So very similar to what we just did. We're just going to hit yes. We're going to follow this installation process. So it's going to ask us what style we want to use here, the New York or default. We're just going to go with default. We're going to use the neutral color base. Yes, we'd like to use CSS variables for theming. It's going to install this now. And once this is done, I'm also going to install MagicUI right afterwards. Okay, so this is done and it's installed. So now if we come over here to our project, you are going to see that if I come to the SRC, that we now have some of these components installed. By the way, just so you guys know, I'm not a coder. This is all like pretty new stuff to me. Like I run a development agency. You know, I have some experience with this stuff, but I am not a coder. I'm actually not even that familiar with Next.js. I've used it obviously in some applications, but this is all new stuff to me. So I'm learning this as I teach it to you, which I think is really cool too. So you can see if we come to components.json, we have installed ShadCN, and so that's really great. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install MagicUI. So I really love what MagicUI is doing here. I think some of these components are really, really awesome. So I want to install this as well. So I'm going to come over here to installation, follow the same process, click on Next.js. I'm going to copy this, come back to cursor. We're going to install this. All right. So I almost installed the wrong thing there. So let's go back here. So what I want, so I almost just installed Next.js again, so we don't want to do that. So this is really all I want to do is run this CLI here to install MagicUI. So I'm going to copy this, come back, I'm going to run that. All right, so we're going to use default style again. We'll use the, we'll stick with neutral. Yes, we'll use CSS variables, and this will install MagicUI as well. All right, awesome. So we now have ShadCN and MagicUI installed. If I come over to our components here, you're going to see MagicUI is installed. Now, because it's installed, I still will need to install the individual parts of this, but I needed to install the main base part of it, which I did. So now if I want to use some of these, I can come in here and actually use some of these features. Like if I want to use this animated beam, I could use this, the border beam, all this really cool stuff. Now we can use this stuff, right? So this is really great. So we have both of these installed. So now let's come back and let's start to build this thing out. So let's come back here and let's say that we want to use, let's see here. Let's actually come to ShadCN. Let's start with some of the simple stuff here and let's look for a menu. So we want to create a navigation menu, let's say for our app. So we're going to ask it to build a navigation menu for us. So we're going to use this navigation menu component. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to this installation. I'm going to copy that, copy the NPM, come back to our project. I'm going to run that. And so we've now installed this navigation menu. So I'm going to come back to cursor here. I'm going to come back to the composer, and I am going to come to this navigation menu here. So this is what we just installed. I'm going to come back to cursor. I'm going to hit @ and I'm going to reference this file here, this navigation menu file. And I'm going to say, please change the menu structure, use this component, and instead of being a left side menu, put this on the top as a top menu. So basically I am changing this from a left-hand menu to a top menu up here, and we're going to use this brand new design that we just installed here. So it looks like it did that. We're going to accept all, and we're going to do npm run dev again, and let's see what it looks like. All right, so it added it to the top. You see that we have our drop down. Obviously some of these pages are not built yet, but that's fine, but you can see that it is it's set up. So we want to change this design a little bit. Obviously it doesn't look great right now, so I'm going to come back to ShadCN. Let's come back to our menu here, our navigation menu. And let's say that we're going to tell it that we want some better spacing, and we want to make the font a little bit more bold. So we're going to ask it to space this out a little bit better and give us a more bold font. We're also going to get rid of this users dropdown as well. So I'm going to say, please adjust menu to have a bold font and remove the users dropdown. I'm also going to say, please make sure the spacing is proper on the menu so the menu items are not too close together. All right, we'll accept all. And if we come back here, you see that our menu is now spaced out a lot better. Obviously, these pages don't exist again, but they are spaced out a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to start working on these widgets here as well. So we have widget 1, widget 2, widget 3. I'm also going to change this from dashboard. I'm going to rename this. I'm going to change this dashboard text, and I'm going to start adding functionality to these widgets. So I'm going to come back here to cursor, and I'm going to say, please rename from your SAS to AI Photo Pro. So we're going to make an app here that's like an AI photo editor. That's going to be the theme here, and we're going to build this whole thing out just using cursor. So we're going to say, please rename from your SAS to AI Photo Pro. We're also going to say, please rename the dashboard, reword dashboard to start here, and change the widgets to say, so we're going to make one background remover. It's going to be one. We're going to make one a photo upscaler. And the last one, we'll call it, let's see, what do we want to do with this one? Make it an AI image tool, we'll call it. So we are asking it to change the wording here from your SAS to Photo AI Pro. We're going to rename this. We're going to make these widgets actual components that'll do stuff. So we'll accept all here, and let's see what it does. Okay, so AI Photo Pro, start here, background remover, photo upscaler, and AI image tool. So again, we want to make this look really cool, right? We don't just want to stick with this design. So let's come over to MagicUI and let's start to do some really cool stuff here. So the first thing I want to do here in MagicUI is we want to take this text at the top, start here, and we want to do something cool with it. So let's come over to our text. Let's see what we got. So this is pretty cool. That's not really going to work for us. Animated shiny text. That's not really great either for what we're using right now. Text reveal. Really? Let's see. Hypertext. Okay. You know what? I actually like this typing animation. So this is what we'll use. We'll use this for now. So I'm going to copy this. We're coming back to the app. Just going to press Control-C here to stop the application, and we're going to install this. Copy this and install it here. So anytime I want to do something new, we have to install it. So we have installed this component. So now I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to say, so I'm going to find this MagicUI component. So our typing animation, this is what we just installed. So I'm going to hit @ Files, and we're going to go to Typing Animation, and I'm going to say, please use this to animate this start here at the top. So we're basically going to apply this to the start here, and let's see what happens. This is going to be pretty cool. I'm going to accept all, and again, we'll run the component dev. This is going to run our application, and let's see what we got. All right, so if I refresh, you can see that when this page loads, this has this really cool typing animation. Very, very cool stuff. I love this. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to give some really cool design to these areas here, BG Remover, Photo Upscaler, AI Image Tool. So let's come back to MagicUI. So one thing I really liked here was this bento grid. I thought this was awesome. So we're going to apply this. So I'm going to copy this. We're going to come back to cursor, and we're going to install this. So again, let's terminate that. We'll install the bento grid. All right, so Bento Grid is installed. So now we're going to come back to our composer here, and we're going to say, we're going to reference the Bento Grid. So, okay, so let's find Bento Grid here. So we're going to reference that. So we're going to hit file, Bento Grid, and I'm going to say, please change the widget area to use this Bento Grid design. And let's see what it does. This should actually look really cool if this works. All right, so I'm going to accept all, and this has been installed. So now let's come back here, npm run dev, and we're going to come back to our new application here. All right, so you can see that it installed it, and it added the bento boxes. It also still has our start here animation. So these look cool. This is not really what I was looking for though. They're on different lines here. So I really want them all right next to each other. So I'm going to come back to cursor and I'm going to say, please adjust the Bento Grid design to keep them on the same row. So in other words, I don't want them here in different rows. I kind of want them all in the same row with a sort of slightly different design here. So let's see what it can do for us. So we'll accept all. Okay, way better. Okay, so we have our background remover, our photo upscaler, our AI image tool. So this is starting to come along and look really, really good. This is awesome. Okay, so we've gone from, just to kind of recap our steps here, we've gone from nothing to an application that we've built. We have a very simple design that we've put together here, but we're adding some really cool animations to it. We have our start here animation, we have our bento boxes, and we can now continue to design this and build this application out. So I'm gonna come back to MagicUI. Let's see what else we can do here to make this look a little cooler. So this is kind of cool. Let's see what else we can do. So let's look at our backgrounds. Maybe let's change the background a little bit. Okay, so, ooh, that's pretty sweet. Dot pattern's like pretty modern. So let's try a few here. Let's try this retro grid. Let's see if we can get this to work. So copy this. We're going to come back to cursor. Same thing we've done all along here. Again, guys, I've done no coding here. This is all just literally copy and pasting and then telling it what we want it to do. So come back, copy this. We'll come back here to cursor. We'll install that. All right, so we're going to come back to our console here, and we have our retro grid, and I'm going to say, I'm just going to reference the retro grid. Please apply this retro grid design to the background of the application. So hopefully it just takes this really cool background design and it adds it to our app. Let's see if this works. All right, so we'll accept all, run this again. All right, so we have it in the background. It's not really moving the way it was in this design here. You can see it's like moving. So it's not really moving here. So let's come back here. Yeah, it's kind of like static. So let's see if we can get it to move. So hopefully this works. I basically just told it to add this animation, and let's see if it works. Didn't really work. All right, well, instead of continuing to fiddle with this, I'm sure we could get it to work if we kept trying, but I want to kind of just move this along here. So let's come back here. Let's try something else. So let's try this flickering grid pattern. You know what? Actually, I like this animated grid pattern more. Let's try this one. Let's see if this works. So we'll come back to cursor, terminate this job, install our new animated grid pattern. Come back to our composer here, and I'll say reference our file. All right, so I'm basically just asking it to use this animated grid pattern or create a dynamic and cool background for our application, and let's see what it does. All right, so it installed the grid pattern. I can't tell if it's animated or not, to be honest. I feel like I see them coming up. I don't know if it's my eyes playing tricks on me. It kind of looks like it's animated. It's hard to tell, honestly. I think it is. I think it is. So I'm not going to lie. I can't tell if this is animated or not. Maybe someone who's watching this can comment and tell me if it's animated. I think it is. Yeah. I'm seeing some of them come in and out. Okay. So it's not super strong. Yeah. So I'm seeing them come in now here and here. Okay. So it's working. Pretty cool. Okay. Sweet. So that's coming in cool. So let's, you know what? I don't really love it though. So let me change this one more time. Let me just find one that I like here. So flickering grid. Why don't we just stick with a classic dot pattern? This looks pretty cool. I don't think we need to make this too fancy. So we'll just use this dot pattern here and we'll wrap up background. So we'll come back to cursor. All right, so I'm going to say we have our dot pattern. Please use this dot pattern for our background on the app. So you can see it's basically saying it's going to get rid of the grid pattern and it's going to use the dot pattern. We'll accept all. We'll come back here, npm run dev. All right, so we have our classic dot pattern. To be honest, I think this looks better and it looks pretty clean and it's a great start. So I'm going to just start working on these tool pages here. So our background remover tool. So let's start with this one, the background remover tool. So I'm actually going to ask it to build me a page for each one of these, but let's come back here to our component and to our composer. And I'm going to say, please build me out a page for each of our 3 tools. Each of these pages should have the ability to upload an image and then a button to process them, as well as a preview of the new updated image. I'll provide you afterwards to help process the images. So basically I'm asking it for a layout. For now, we just need a layout with a solid design for each of these tool pages. So I'm basically just asking it to build me a layout. So the plan will be here to actually connect these to something called FAL AI. So if you don't know about this, basically it is a model tool where you can come in here and you can basically get API keys to use all these open source models. There's a ton of these out there, but I'm just going to use this one for this example here. So they have basically everything that I had in mind here. We're going to do background removals. We'll do upscalers, and we'll do some stuff to like edit images, you know, tuning up images. So like you can upload your image and make it like a painting or whatever, right? So just some really cool stuff that we're going to do using these AI applications. So we're basically going to connect these to Claude or to our app using Claude and Cursor here, and we'll do that. But for now, let's finish up our design. And then once we're done with this, by the way, then we'll deploy it to Vercel, and then that'll be like the first iteration of our app. So let's wrap up this part here. So let's come back to Cursor. So you can see it built out these pages for us. So I'll create 3 new pages. You can see that it actually creates these pages for us. So that's the really cool thing here about using the composer. The composer will actually not just read everything that's happening here. It's actually able to create pages for us. So that's really, really cool. So it looks like it already did that for us here. So we have our image tool, BG remover tool, and our photo upscaler. So it actually created the pages for us. So if I come here and actually hit try now, I should have a page. So look, so now we have our background remover page with our original image. So this isn't going to work yet, right? It's not really going to do anything, but it has built this for us. We have our photo upscaler. Again, it's not going to do anything. And our image tool here, that's not going to do anything. But this is so crazy. I was actually in the back of my head, I was thinking I needed to give it a prompt for this. It somehow knew to add this already. So actually really incredible. The one thing I noticed that's missing here is that the menu is missing from these pages. So I'm just going to come back here and I'm going to tell it, new pages look great, but please re-add the top menu to all the new pages. So because it's missing the top menu. So we're going to have to add those new top menu or the old top menu to all these pages. So it's going to do that now. It's actually really cool. So now it's going to create a new file for the shared layout. This is actually the right way to code this. Instead of actually just adding it to each one, it's actually creating a layout page or layout TSX file. So that's perfect. Okay, perfect. So we're going to accept all, come back here, and we should now have our menu on all the pages. Awesome. So, I mean, anyone who's watching this, you can see how quickly we went from nothing to what already looks like a functional tool here. Again, it doesn't work yet, but we're getting there slowly. So one last thing I want to do here is I'm going to do a few things to this design here. So I'm going to take this box here. We're going to come back to MagicUI. I want to just do a few cool things here. So let's do a border beam. I love this border beam. So we're going to apply this border beam to these areas here. And I want to add a new button. So let's install border beam, and let's also install a button. So shimmer button. Yeah, let's do shiny button. Okay, so we'll come back to border beam. We'll install this. All right, so border beam's installed. So I'm going to say, let's find our border beam. Please apply this border beam to the main box of the tool pages. So I didn't give it very specific instructions, but hopefully it knows what I want here. Let's see if this works. All right, so that's done. We'll accept all. So before I do run dev again, I'm going to ask it to do one more thing for me. I'm going to come to our button TSX here. What was the button? Hold on. Sorry. Had our button, shiny button. Okay, shiny button. So let's just install that real quick. All right, shiny button installed. So I'm going to say reference our shiny button. Please use this shiny button component to replace the buttons on the tool pages. All right, that is done. So we added those two new design pieces. Let's just run this one more time. All right, so you can see that we have our shiny new button here. You can see it pops out in a really cool way. And we have this tool here, this beam on the side. The beam is not moving. We'll try to fix that in a second. And if we come back to our main start here, we have all these animations set up as well. So we have come a long way here. We went from basically nothing to a really solid design for an application with modern elements, with modern design elements, with really cool animations, really cool buttons and backgrounds. And the next thing we're gonna have to do is just actually put all this together and finish out this design, which I'm gonna show you in the next video. So highly recommend you subscribe to the channel if you're interested in this kind of stuff. I'm gonna go through this whole process. I'm gonna add the functions. I'm gonna show you how to build this out. I'm also gonna show you how to deploy this to your own website, take you through this whole process. So we are just at the beginning of AI coding. I am going to be deep into this. So if you're interested in this, like I said, highly recommend you subscribe, like this video as well. It helps other people like you find this video and, get found in the YouTube algorithm. And I can't wait to show you where this application goes next. I think you're going to love it.